Welcome to Same Cast, Different Day podcast. I am Martel Roland.
And I am Tina Marie.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? So, it hasn't been no episodes because one, I had got sick, and then, you know, life just happened for the both of us, for both me and Tina. So, here we are with a new episode. I don't know what episode we're on, but here we are with a new episode. And it's been a lot that has happened since the last episode. We had the whole Trump thing. We had Diddy. What else was there? We had the president of Iran was killed. It was just so much that has happened since we've been gone. So the first thing is, I guess we can start off with the orange man. More Lord knows, I'm sick of this orange man. So the Orange Man was convicted of all 34 counts. This man was found guilty. This man is a convicted felon. Yes, as a convicted felon, you can run as for the president of the United States of America. Now, I keep telling people the reason why it's such a bad idea for this man to be reelected as president is because one, this man is trying to eliminate the Constitution of the United States, which is a living document, I believe. This the one called the living document? Yes. So he's trying to get rid of the Constitution of the United States. And then if you get rid of the Constitution of the United States, he's going to try to basically make it so there is no terms to being a president. How many times you run for president? And on top of that, he is going to basically make it of in the future impossible where presidents can pardon themselves from crimes. So once he gets into office, he's going to pardon himself for these crimes that he's committed. It's another thing. And overall, I just feel like it's going to be World War VI going on out here. And why? What you mean? What you mean, Martell? World War VI? I mean, World War III. It's gonna be so bad with this man that we gonna skip World War III, four, and five. It's just go straight to six. That's how bad it is if this man get reelected as president. And then one of the other things that was brought to my attention. I had saw somebody else post that if this man is able to run for president and a convicted felon, when you go fill out a job application, he basically stated that you should not have to say if you're a felon, you should not be able to, you should not be able to get certain jobs if you are considered a convicted felon. If you can run run the country as a convicted felon. Now, should you work in, when it comes to dealing with people's lives, like working in nursing homes, hospitals, and such things like that. Should you be a convicted felon? No. But a trade, and if it's a trade, then yes, you should better work as a convicted felon. If you can run the country as a convicted felon, in my personal opinion. Tina, what you got to say about this orange man?
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more info that I read in the blogs. Apparently, it was an account that had tweeted that said that I don't know, the timeline is kind of weird. Before he actually got convicted, that he was going to be convicted, and this person or whoever was running this account knew because his cousin was a juror.
Mm.
So if that does turn out to be true, then it's a mistrial.
That it is.
Unfortunately. So
You're
I
proven guilty.
kind of feel like a couple of things, right? It could be a setup. It could be that that person was, again, because the whole thing most of the things he was charged for was hush money, right? So it could be that they didn't put their hand to something else, pay somebody, or whoever run this account to falsely tweet information. I don't even know if is it called a tweet still. I don't know. Nobody calls it that. But
Right.
and they could have been paid to do that to set it up for a mistrial.
Mhm.
You know, that could have been kind of like a last ditch effort. That's what immediately popped into my mind that was going to happen. Um, the way I feel about it, yes, I agree with you. If you are a felon, now, if we do get a felon that is going to be running the United States, I feel like felons, like, okay, So it's different type of felonies, right? You got violent felonies and you have non-violent felonies. So his is considered a non-violent. All 34 counts were non-violent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you do have a non-violent felony, and I do feel like our country has moved towards this kind of already versus when I was younger and coming into the workforce. It is a lot of jobs out there for felons.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also runs into like low income housing. If you're a felon, you can't get in there. You know what I'm saying? So um,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. But I mean, common sense is if you if you embezzle money, you can't get a job at a bank. Like ain't nobody ever gonna trust you. So
Right. Exactly.
I feel like that the nature of the crime should bar you from getting a job if it's directly related. So I feel like this that he got convicted of is directly related to politics, etc., etc. And he should be he should be barred from being able to be a candidate.
Yeah, because who's to say that you're going to be trustworthy with American dollars? Who's to say that you're not going to, take taxpayers' money and put it in your own pocket? Find some way to put it in your own pocket. On top of that, yeah, I feel like him being convicted of this just make it seem like he's not a trustworthy person, a person who should not be president. And then on top of that, his allies are people who've been trying to bring down America. Like he's allies with Vladimir Putin. He hates Americans. He hates our way of life. He hates everything about us. And yet you wants to be best friends with this man who basically wants to wipe America off the face of the planet. So it's a crazy situation. And only thing I can say is this November, make sure that y'all go vote. That's the only thing I can say. Just make sure y'all go vote this November. Please do.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people in the black community say they were voting for Trump because they don't want to vote for Biden.
And then I heard that too, but then a lot of people out here saying that say, "Oh, well, we vote for Trump again. We might get another stimulus check." Like, do y'all know when we get those stimulus checks, we the American people have to pay that money back. That's not
Hence,
exactly free money, which is
hence
why
inflation.
right, exactly. Hence inflation. So it's not exactly free money. So why y'all thinking it's free money is not, and the fact that it's got to the point where this man literally is buying votes. It's just crazy.
I agree. I agree. Also, just the amount of supporters that he had, like right after he was convicted, like he was getting, like he's gotten so many donations just on this whole carrying on that he's doing. Like
I mean, but
it's insane.
look at how Kyle Rittenhouse, when he was going to his trial, look how much money was raised for him for being a murderer. And that's just America now. Like, oh, this guy went and was standing up for Republican rights, so it's okay for him to go murder all these people because he was standing up for Republican rights and the right to bear arms and all that kind of mess. So yeah, I can't stand it. I just can't stand it.
Neither can I.
So one of the other top stories while we were gone was oh no, before we get into that, the president of Iran was killed. Damn it, what is his name? I had
He
it
was in
saved in
the
my head.
he. I thought he was in a helicopter accident. That's what you're
Yes, he
talking
was
about.
killed in a helicopter accident. President Abraham Raisi, I don't know, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, but he was killed in a helicopter accident, and it's crazy because like the day they said they were looking for this helicopter, from like the news feed that I was seeing, like the coverage they were showing, I'm like, those don't look like safe flying conditions when they were out there flying. Like they didn't look very safe to be flying in the first place. In my head, I'm feeling like this feel like a setup.
So yeah, so the first time I heard the news break, it said that the helicopter
It was just missing.
experienced some issues. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was
during
just
the
missing.
flight,
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden now it was the actual crash and he was confirmed dead. And I believe he was with family, wasn't he?
Uh, no, his family wasn't on there. He had a lot of his staff members that was on the flight with him.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I felt like that was a setup. So now it's like,
Especially
so
with how
I'm not really.
foggy it was. Like you could barely like the way how foggy it was. Like you could barely see your own hand in front of you. So why were you out there flying in the first place?
Maybe it was supposed to be a short flight. Maybe it was. I had the fog happen all of a sudden. I mean, you said this was which country?
He's Iranian.
They get fog,
It was like foggy from like the pictures that I had saw. It was like
or
because
was it
we're
smoky?
no, because like where the plane landed at, it looked almost like a forest area.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Where
okay,
the helicopter was like found, it looked like it was in like a forested area. So that's why I'm like, why
okay,
were you even flying in those kind of conditions?
okay. So, and now I'm kind of curious as to I don't know how their government is ran. Like we have a vice president. If like the president is
They
killed, the
had
vice
somebody that
president.
stepped in his place, and then they said they're supposed to be holding a special election to determine their new president for their country because
Okay,
they vote just
okay,
like how
that's
we
how they
vote.
do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I thought the vice president takes office if the president is
I
dead,
see.
and then
That's
they
what theirs is a
advance
little
up.
different from ours. I think they have somebody in this case where they step in until they hold a special election to, not have a person fill their presidential spot.
Okay,
So they might have somebody in place where if something was to happen to their president, this person is going to be in charge until we hold a special election to elect a new president.
no, okay,
So
okay.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, that's
like I said,
unfortunate.
I feel like that was 100% a
That it
setup
was
on
so
that end.
random. It was so
It was
random. Like,
very random because I think he was just going on like a random trip to visit something like how our president go do like a random visit to like a random city within the country or something like that. And I think that's what he was doing. And all of a sudden, just his plane, just his helicopter, just magically just disappeared. And it turns out like the fact that they were even calling on America to help them find the helicopter. Like first, it took them like a little day or two to find a helicopter. I'm like, what took y'all so long to find it? First of all, but like then second of all, when this helicopter went down, so nobody noticed no type of smoke coming from this area, no flames, no. And then like the area that the helicopter went down in, it didn't look like from the live video coverage they was showing it from the video that I saw like the area didn't look really damaged. Like it didn't look burned. It didn't like how Kobe
it didn't
Bryant
look like
like
it was an impact had happened.
yeah. Like how Kobe Bryant had to have you actually see like the impact and the helicopter sliding. Like from what I saw, you didn't see any of that. It was just like the helicopters just fell, hit that spot, boom, and then it was just like the space is like you see like the trees and stuff broke where the helicopter landed and that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy because you would think that first of all, if it was some issues during flight, that the pilot, I don't know if they're called pilots for helicopters, I'm assuming, um,
Mm-hmm.
would send out a mayday, right? And then you also think since that was the president, it would be some type of tracking device on him or some type of security detail somewhere, some kind of something. You know
Some
what I'm
type of
saying?
GPS located on the helicopter to be able to find in a case of emergency. And um in an area like that, I didn't know why they didn't have other like jets or helicopters flying with them. Because I don't know, I think our president here, even though when he used the presidential helicopter, I
He,
believe
yeah,
there's like other
yeah, it was on
helicopters that like
jets.
fly with him. So it's just like
Yeah,
I don't understand. It's very suspicious to me, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
So to move into some other news. There was this story that came out of I'm sorry y'all, my ear monitor feels so uncomfortable in my ear. It's been so long. Um in Baraboo, Wisconsin, there was this situation
Oh
that
my
happened.
goodness.
So
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna play the clip. Hopefully I can find the clip, even if hopefully I got it. I don't
This
even know if I
was so.
got it.
When I was when I first saw this on the
I don't have it.
blogs, I didn't know it was in Wisconsin. And then yesterday I found out it was in Wisconsin. and Bearable of all places. I'm like, come on, man, where the circus used to be at?
Right. I
Who
wonder if.
remembers when MTV?
Okay, that's not it. I thought I had the clip. That's not it. Oh, here we go. Okay, here
A
we
high
go.
school in Wisconsin is back in the news for the bad behavior of a parent at this year's graduation. Let's take a look at the clip.
Oh, excuse me. Where's Brendan?
Man, you better get up off
Where's
me,
Brendan?
man.
Where's Brendan?
Get away from me, bro.
No, don't.
Hey, no, hey, you need to get, hey,
Walk away. Walk away.
You gotta go. I will get off. Right now, you are there. I don't care. Get off the stage right now.
What you just saw is the father of that girl pushing the superintendent of schools out of the way, saying, "I don't want him to touch her." Police did arrest Eddie after the altercation on a lesser charge of disorderly conduct instead of assault. Baraboo High School is a really small school. It graduated less than 200 students that day. But despite the size of the school, this is the second time they've been in the news for less than savory reasons. They were in the news back in 2018 when half of the boys in the class seemed to have raised their hand in a Heil salute. Some of the parents of these boys say no, they were just waving. Some say they were shocked to see their son put their arm up like that and were shouting to them to put it down. Eventually, the school decided that they would not punish these students because even if it was a Heil, they had the First Amendment right to do so.
So I didn't know that was the same. I remember when that happened, that picture. I remember when that happened. I did not know it was the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Second of all, saying that it's a really small high school with 200 kids graduating, that's like an average high school in the Milwaukee area. It's probably roughly between, depending on which high school, 200 to 300. My class only graduated 50. Now that's small. Okay.
My graduating class had 500 and some students graduating.
Where did y'all fit 500 and some seniors at?
We were at the Cooley Auditorium at MATC.
I'm talking about in class. Why was it 500 and some?
No, we had different homes. We didn't have all of us wasn't in one classroom, but like it's so
I know that.
So like each grade level had its own floor basically. If that makes sense. So like the freshmen.
Yeah, it makes sense. But
like
how was it 500 of y'all in that school?
So you got
it's just for 12th grade.
Shit. So you got to think. At that time, we were three or four separate schools operating as one school. We were still one school, but we was operating as three separate schools. But
I don't care how many schools was in there. I'm talking about the sheer size of the building. Now, Washington High School, I can see that. Vincent High School, I can see that.
North Division can
Corey graduating class had 200 and some students.
North Division can hold approximately be like 2,000 some students in that building.
But you're not understanding me. I'm confused because Corey's graduating class only had 200 and some students.
Mm-hmm.
At King.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, it's four separate schools all within the building. so like my
I would have been there.
So like my high school had like 100 close to 200 some students, like seniors in there, and then like the other high school had like another like almost close to 200, a little over 200, and then the other high school that think theirs because they had what they had did was Malcolm X. They closed down Malcolm X and they moved them into North Division and they renamed it African American Immersion High School, which was an alternative school for the bad students. That's where they sent those kids. So at one point on the first floor, it was a school called Genesis High School for the kids that were how can I put those kids? Like the pregnant girls, kind of, bad behavior, bad situation. We had those students on the first floor. It wasn't a pregnancy because they had both male and females there, so just like it was like a mixture. And then on the second floor, we had another school, which is the school that I went to, and then we had to wear the uniforms. And then on the third floor was African American Immersion High School. But when I first started going there, it was 5 schools in that building. And then as the years went on, they lowered it down to 3. So my senior year, they merged all of us together. So it was almost like the freshmen and sophomores was on the first floor, the juniors was on the second floor, and then all the seniors was on the third floor.
Well, we had 300 total students in my school.
So yeah, North Division can hold a lot of students in there. It's a pretty big building on the inside. It looks small. It looks small from the outside, but on the inside is like it's freaking huge.
Mm.
And then down there
Okay.
too, like the basement area. But yeah, like I said, that like that man, I feel like he should have got more than just what he was charged with, which was what was it, aggravated assault or something. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. But he
Disorder,
should be charged.
he got taken for disorderly conduct,
Oh yeah,
and they took
disorderly
back the
conduct.
assault.
I feel like he should have got charged. He should have got at least some jail time, in my personal opinion. I feel like a hate crime should have been brought against him. And then the fact that that he stormed past, like he stormed on stage and literally physically grabbed the man and pulled him off the stage. That's assault. He should have been charged with a higher, with more than just disorderly conduct. And then on top of that, I love how you heard the black come out in that man.
So yeah, he did. Hold on, bro. Get your hands on me, bro. So okay. So black superintendent in that school district. Wow, first of all, right? Um, he had some black in him. He
Mhm.
was, Um, and I would like to know the backstory of that because at first when I watched it, I had to watch it a few times to kind of catch it because I didn't have the sound on. And I was like, well, what's going on, right? And I can't say it was because she was shaking the hand of a male, because there was a lot of males up there, but he was the only black male up there.
Mhm.
But then again, the daughter looked mortified. I would have been, oh my goodness, I would have been mortified. I would have been embarrassed. And I know when she walked off the stage, it was an older lady down there that she was talking to, that she gave her a hug. I'm not sure if it was a staff member. I'm not sure if it was a family member, like a mother or something like that. It
You
looked
can
too
tell
old to
that
be a
girl wasn't
mother.
allowed to have black friends.
But so this is my thing. I don't even know if that was what it was. Maybe it was something that happened, right? Because I played devil's advocate. So maybe something had happened between her and that specific person that the father didn't like. It might not have been about race. We don't know. We
I
don't know
mean,
if it was
but
racial
the thing
involvement. It
is,
looks that
like
way. It looks that way.
in my whole life of being in public school, I've never had contact with the school superintendent ever. I have never had contact with the school superintendent
Well,
or the superintendent of the school
Doctor
district.
when Dr. Howard Fuller was running MPS, he made himself very well known. He was out and about. You got to meet him. You got to shake his hands and everything like that. Can't tell you who the superintendent of the MPS is now, but how
Me
when
either.
Dr. Howard Fuller was holding that title, oh, he ran MPS.
There's
He
thing is
ran
like
MPS.
the whole entire time I was in MPS, I never knew who the school superintendent was. I can't even tell you the name. I just don't know. Like that person never came around. That person never came to the school. You never heard of that person ever. That the name was never mentioned. There's never no gossip in the hallway. Like that's the school superintendent here. Like none of that stuff.
I feel like Dr. Fuller. I remember him through elementary school at least. In middle school, I
Oh,
think
you talking
he
about the
was.
1900s? Okay, makes
You
sense
hear
now.
me? Okay, yeah. Before
well,
your memories form, yeah.
well, in the 2000s, the superintendent comes to the school.
Yeah, yeah. Because what I was out of school the first year after 2000 hit. So yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mm,
Well,
mm,
you graduated in
mm.
2001.
Yes, I did, and I look good. Stop hating.
I was in the
You
fourth
better stop
grade. I
telling these
was
folks
starting my
my.
fourth grade year in 2000.
You better stop telling these people my age.
I was. I was starting the fourth grade.
You.
Oh,
That's all right, honey.
but
That
I
is
feel like
okay.
ooh, it's hotter than a jalapeno coochie. But yeah, that man should have been charged with more than what he got charged with. I feel like it
Well,
should have been assault, at least an assault charge on there, in
I
my
hope
personal
so.
opinion.
So what I'm looking for is a release statement from the superintendent.
Yeah, so it's like So I wonder if the only way I could see that man doing that if it wasn't for racial motivation was the fact that the superintendent and that dad personally had like words in the past before.
I mean, what if his daughter had a crush on the superintendent? He's a younger, fit man. The rest of the men up there were older.
True.
I mean, you never know what it
We'll
was.
never know.
You never know what it was. You know, we talking about a teenage girl, right? It ain't no telling
Hmm.
what stories have been going around. I mean, I can't say. I mean, so I don't want it to be racially motivated. I would really hope it's not. And the fact that they link the picture to the school with that same school happening like that. But then it's like, I wonder how long he's been superintendent for one, right? I
Hmm.
wonder if anything else like that happened. I mean, it didn't seem like nobody up there on the stage was uncomfortable being around him. He came back out. It was cheers in the crowd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when he
Hmm.
came back out to the stage, people were clapping and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I'm like, I'm not really sure. Maybe it was just him that put this on. Like, I don't know. It's a father. So it can be a lot of things going through a father's mind. Me, I'm just saying that as a parent, right? And
Right.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it does look racially motivated. But you know, and he's like, I don't want you to touch my daughter. So that's like I'm question mark, question mark, question mark on top of my head when I think of a man and a young girl in that environment. You know, we've had all these stories come out where teachers have been doing things with their students and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and it's Baraboo, Wisconsin. I'm not really sure how many schools are in Baraboo, Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? So he might not have a lot of students or a lot of schools he oversees. Maybe he do know or is able to be out a little bit more in public, make more appearances, things like that. I don't know. You know, so or maybe they had a town hall meeting or a meeting or something. They disagreed with some politics or I don't know. It could be, you know,
Can
it's
be
a
so
plethora
many
of
things.
things. Right. So that's why I'm like, I would really like to see, so I would really like to see a positive press release from the superintendent or even a chance for the family to sit down with the superintendent and, you know, speak or have some type of conversation with each other. You know, a
Right.
grown up, mature conversation about what the trigger was.
Right. I agree. I would
Right?
like to hear that.
Yeah.
I would.
And also, I'm just nosy because I want to know what really
um.
happened.
So one of the other things that's been going on, I've been hearing people saying that they don't want to get Diddy. So if you guys don't know, there's been a lot of allegations coming out about the rapper Sean Puffy Combs, aka Diddy, lately. There was also the
Sean Puff,
video.
Love. What he call himself now?
Oh, he changed
Love
his name
something.
again.
Yeah, when he came out with this the last few years, he Brother Love or something like that.
He can't even use Brother Love 'cause that's owned by WWE, so he probably will get sued for gimmick infringement now.
It's something like that.
But then there's the video that came out with him beating up his former girlfriend Cassie, and this is one of those things where it was like when she I guess was first coming out and was saying stuff, and it was like oh the world didn't believe the things that she was saying about him almost to a certain extent, and then
I
now
believe her.
we get
I
these
believe her.
videos and it's just like because I feel like when she was coming out saying these things about him and it was like it got ignored and it was swept under the rug. I'm gonna it was swept under the rug. And then now it's like this
So,
video come out and then with all these other allegations coming out, it was like, oh, she was telling the truth. She was right. He's a monster.
so me is I got a creep factor, like a creepo monitor, right? He always looked like a creep with me. He always made my skin crawl. Like way back in the day when he first started making music, I was like, he looks so evil to me. I don't know if it was the eyebrows or the fact that he always had on sunglasses. I don't know. But he always looked like a creep to me. And
Hmm.
then when he started dating her, I don't know, I guess, whatever, um, she never looked happy. Every time I saw her, I was just like, she just doesn't. First of all, it was a really odd couple, right? Extremely
Yeah.
odd couple. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what she see in him other than money, right? And that might have been what it is. I don't know. He just done. He's not attractive. Okay, my personal opinion, he's not attractive. Um, he when he had that whole reality TV show on VH1, was that VH1?
Oh, you talking about making a band? That was on MTV.
MTV. Okay. Um, I I really, so as far as him being a producer, like I don't know. It's like he just makes my skin crawl. I'm like, did he like sell his soul to the devil? Like he looks soulless to me.
I mean, so
You know what I'm
according to
saying?
some reports, they're saying that Biggie only released 2 albums while I think the second album might came out after he passed away.
Yeah.
But so they were saying that there was a third album that Biggie had done that's recorded and done. From this is just allegedly. So there's talks that Diddy basically owns that third album, and if he releases that third album, he no longer has control over Notorious B.I.G. music because currently he controls Notorious music. His own family, Faith Evans, none of them people have control over Biggie's music. All that is controlled by Diddy. So obligations and stuff, Biggie was signed with him for 3 albums. So after that third album is released, you know, Biggie gets basically control over his music and whatever. So right now, like with streaming services and stuff like that, like Diddy negotiated how much that a state would get per how many times that song is streamed on streaming services. Like he negotiates all that stuff. He chooses if Biggie's music is available for streaming services or not. Just like Aaliyah's family have no control over her music whatsoever. So like until the Black Round Records, who Aaliyah was assigned to, they are the ones who finally was after 20 some years made her music available on streaming services. Just like Tank's like the last like the towards the end of like the Tank's career and like Tank's high of his career. Like those albums was not available on streaming services because he was signed to Black Round Records. They didn't release any of that music. Like the singer JoJo, none of her music that she was known for all these years was not on streaming services because she was signed to Black Brown Records. So until they made that music available for on streaming services because they own basically the catalog, she wasn't able to have that music on streaming services and then make money off of that. So she wasn't getting paid all these years. She wasn't getting paid for none of her music all these years. So she had to go back and re-record her first album to order to get some money.
I mean, look at
And
Total. They fell off, right?
right.
I used to love Total. They fell off. Um, then what? His first wife mysteriously died. I don't even know what the cause of her
Yeah,
death was.
everybody that worked for him when he first created Bad Boy is now all dead except for Al B. Shore, which he almost
And
died.
I was gonna say, was he real sick or something like that?
Yeah,
So
because
I don't know. He makes my skin
because
crawl.
it's
It's
because
always been like that.
what's her name? I don't know. I forgot her name. The black lady I be seeing on social media, but she made Jaguar right. Brought something to my attention. She was like, when Al B. Shore got sick, it was around the same time he was working on a tell all book. So while
Yes,
he
that's
was
true.
miraculously working on a tell all book, he ends up getting sick and almost dying.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, everybody else who was with Diddy at the beginning is pretty much who basically has dirt on him or knows about him or knows how Bad Boy started or know how Bad Boy came to be or what deals he pulled to make that happen. All those people are dead.
So, and I think Jaguar right. She just got arrested, didn't she?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
I think so. She got arrested for something. Let me see here.
So it's just almost, it's just like you say, like maybe you, like you say, you had got a vibe from it. I said, like, I didn't get a vibe about how creepy this man was. It's just now hearing all the stories about him, like, dang, when he really do sound like a monster, kind of. Well, is
She was
this
arrested
don't
for theft.
include? Oh wow,
Yeah, she
and
was
like
arrested for theft a day ago.
they said, this don't
Uh,
include the him being the allegations of him drugging guys and having sex with them and stuff like that. That's out there
so
too.
I mean, he was with Cassie. After that, it was J Lo, right?
No, it was J Lo then Cassie.
Okay, J Lo then Cassie. I feel like J Lo was well known enough that he couldn't really pull the stuff that he could pull with other women. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she she was just too well known as a dancer, as an actress, as a singer. Um,
We already know from the last video that J Lo really don't be singing. We just gonna say that now.
well, she canceled her tour too in tears. But anyway, um, and then there was so I feel like the only person that came up out of him so far unscathed was Carisha, also known as Young Miami, right? So she was seen, out and about with Diddy. She would never claim him as her boyfriend ever. Lavish gifts, lavish trips, got her own podcast on Revolt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know if he had a hand in the last City Girls album, but that was really kind of but yeah, I mean, he was more like she treated him more like a sugar daddy, and I don't know if
Yes, she should have.
as she should have, and I don't know if it's just the times have changed, or is it because he aged? He's not really at his prime because he in his 50s. He lost his grip in the music business to a certain extent. Like he was pretty much. I don't know if he was really doing any more producing anymore, or signing any new because it was what was the day 26? What was it? He did. He
Danity
was
Kane.
responsible for day 26.
He was
Did he do day
Danity Kane. He was responsible for Danity Kane and Day 26.
and they both fell apart. Both of the groups fell apart.
Well, actually, Day 26 got so Day 26 would have still been together. It was the fact that after their second album, he actually dropped the group. He didn't want to work with them anymore. So it was like they didn't know what to do because they didn't have no, because he was managing their careers also. Like he was the one pulling the strings, making decisions, getting them appearances, booking the tours.
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody should have that much power. That's
Mm-hmm.
scary. And it's like, why him? I feel like there's a million other talented producers and talent people, out there that are more interested in the development of talent and not just people selling their souls to him for life, not knowing what they get themselves into, signing contracts, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I always knew it was something going on with him and Cassie. And I was young when they were, and you were younger when they were dating each other. And I just always said, that girl looks so sad. You know what I'm saying? I always felt
Mm-hmm.
that way about them. So it wasn't a shock to me when the video came out. It wasn't a shock to me when they said that he paid the hotel $50,000, and the only way they came about to take is when they raided one of his properties. Like it's never been a shock. It wasn't a shock to me when they said they arrested his supposed drug mule in Miami, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
none of that was none of that was a shock to me. I just because it's like he was creeping up on being a billionaire, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
He
because
had that
he
ride,
had the
he had
TV
Sean
station, he
John.
had the record label, he had the liquor, he had the clothing line, he had a lot going on.
Yeah, he had a lot going on.
Or say then he was
Uh,
produced. He was. I think he was producing movies. So I think he produced the Notorious B.I.G. movie.
which I've never seen, by the way. Um, revoked my black card. I guess I was never interested in watching that movie.
I don't think I only watched that
Um,
movie because I walked in and somebody else was watching it. That's not a movie. Like I've never seen All Eyes on Me, which is a Tupac movie. I've never seen it. I never seen Straight Outta
I've never
Compton.
seen that either. I seen Straight Outta Compton, but that's an old movie. But I just kind of feel like he did his just dessert. So when I'm assuming it was an NDA that Cassie had signed, and that's why she had been quiet all these years. Because you got to think about it. It's like she popped up out of the blue, got married, and had kids, and if you look at her, like she's
She's
happy.
not.
You
And
know
the
what I'm
thing about
saying?
it is, when all this came out about the video, I think she might only made one statement. After that, she hasn't said nothing else. Like she has remained quiet through the rest of all of this.
When she got like millions of dollars out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that doesn't. So in my head, that still doesn't equal to the years of abuse that she probably went under. And then it's crazy. And so it's even crazier to me that when she did file her lawsuit or whatever, he paid her. So that should have been the first indication right there that something screwy was going on. She got
Yeah.
paid. He knew she had something. You know what I'm saying? But no, so none of the other women did say that. I mean, Kim Porter, she died. J Lo, I'm assuming she made it out unscathed. You know what I'm
And he
saying?
probably paid her a
He,
nice sum of money too to stay hushed about stuff.
he probably did. You never know. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
but Cassie, she just seemed like she was so young and innocent. No real street smart, no nothing like that. Not a hustle bone in her body.
And then
She's
on
just a
top of
regular.
that, her music career, he had full control over it.
And I actually listened to her album. I did. I listened to it. Huh? Oh,
So
sorry. Um, but I actually listened to her album and I enjoyed a few songs off of there. I used to keep that in rotation when I was younger. But um, no, she was never happy. And now he paid her after they released the statement talking about it was a money grab. Then he turned around and paid her. Right? I was like,
hmm
okay, somebody's bipolar clearly. And then after that happened, the amount of men that came forward and was saying, these parties that were being thrown by Diddy and the stuff that was going on. And the fact that one man said, I can't remember who it was, but I feel like he was famous. I can't remember who it was. And said that Diddy called Cassie over to him and told her to go shave the side of her head. And then the next time he saw Cassie, the side of her head was shaved. I don't know if you remember that era when she had the one side of her head shaved. I didn't feel like it was a
I
good
remember
look
that.
on her, but she did. She did have the one side of her head shaved. So
hmm
just the amount of power that he held over her, and control.
Look,
Um,
now that you mentioned that, he did the same thing with Danity Kane. So one of the reasons
yes.
one of the girls got fired was because she was trying to create her own image and look. Like he was like, "Oh, you like big hair, and I want your hair to be like this, and you like big hair, you like doing this and doing that." So she got nearly like I believe it was Aubrey nearly but got fired for trying to create her own image, trying to be her. And like I said, and
Aubrey
with
O'Day.
Danity Kane, right, and with Danity Kane, he created their image. They had to wear like when they went out and did appearances or like for like whenever they were on tour and stuff. He controlled their image. He controlled how their hair was, how they were supposed to look. Like he did all that. He had control of all of that. And like I said, like now that all these years came out, like you said, with Cassie coming out with her head shaved, half her head shaved and stuff, like it's just so much more that makes sense about this man and how much of a monster he is.
Man, I seen it. Just like R. Kelly, I seen it when he was around Aaliyah. all the time, I was like, that's really creepy. Like he always. So it's like if you
I was
want to
too young
produce
to
music
say.
or whatever, man, it was so creepy. And then she never looked happy. She was another one that never looked happy ever.
Because Aaliyah
You
spent
can't
her
tell me.
whole
You cannot
entire
tell me that.
no, she spent her whole entire career surrounded by men. And then I feel like she didn't really start to really break out and look somewhat happy and was becoming Aaliyah
Until
until
she died,
after,
right? Right before she
you know,
died.
I would say like the Romeo Must Die era. Like
No, man, I
a
feel
little bit
like
after that, while she was working on her last album before she died, like that's when you started seeing, like, to me, the real Aaliyah, like her real personality and how she really is. We saw her smile more. We didn't see her in
it
all
was the
black all
queen of
the
the
time.
dance to me.
She was wearing, more colors and stuff like that. Like when we seen her, she was always in black, like black top or blue jeans,
Black
always just all
leather,
black. Like, right.
sunglasses.
So I would say like
Yeah.
right after that Romeo Must Die era is when we kind of started seeing that transition from Aaliyah. And
Keep
then,
sleeping.
like I said, like after that we
Keep
started seeing
sleeping.
her dress more we started seeing her dress more feminine and be starting to become like
The more than a woman. What was it called? More than a woman.
it was
What's
more
that?
than a
That
woman
song?
rock the boat, and then we need a
She had
resolution
on.
videos for that.
She had on. Or was
She,
it
she
Rock
had
the
on
Boat when she had on all white?
she had on, so it was all white when she had more than women was all white, but in the we need a resolution video she had on the long dress with the point with the heels and stuff on, like she was
With that
becoming
split.
her. Yeah, she was becoming
Yeah,
her.
boy, that split was there. I remember that.
Yeah,
I used to do the whole dance on that.
right. See, so she was becoming her, and that's why I was like, that's when she was at her happiest, baby. Right when we started to see her transition into that, her third album, Aaliyah era. That's when we saw her transition into this whole different woman. But then, like I said, it got cut short with the
And then
plane
she
crash.
mysteriously got killed too.
Yeah. From what I heard, like I think I said on on the last video where she was it was alleged that she was drugged and put on that plane.
Yes, I heard
Because
that too.
like because when you look at the plane, and I finally actually like as a kid, and I see you look at that plane like to you it looks like a large plane when you look at it as from a kid perspective from when I was a kid when that happened. So years later now, I look at this plane, I'm like,
It's
that
a small
was
personal
that
plane.
was a small ass plane for 8 people plus all the equipment, makeup, and like everything they took with them. Like that, they like looking at that plane, you knew that was just going to be too much fucking weight for that plane.
I mean, I've flown on one of those planes when I was 11. Back in the day, my very first flight, I went to Mississippi. I flew from here, I believe here or Chicago, down to, I can't remember where my connecting flight was. But then my second plane I got on was a plane like that. Very small. I think it was only about 16 people on there, maybe. It can
Hmm.
only hold 16 people. So this is back in the day, y'all. This is 30 years ago. Um, and and how old was you?
30 years ago, I was two.
Oh, see, okay. So I was taking my first plane ride when you was two. Um, but in my experience between the two planes, a bigger plane flies a lot smoother. A smaller plane, you do feel a lot more turbulence. I'm not gonna say that it was too much weight. So that would have been
But from the
on the
report, the
pilot.
plane barely got off the plane was barely airborne before it went down.
Right. So I don't know. That's one of those
Because
something was going
I
on,
look
right?
at it like
So
it's a video shoot. She has it's her plus six or seven of her people that work for her, plus the captain, and then I'm just thinking like the amount of stuff that a person like her would take on a flight with her to the Bahamas to film like a video like that, and then on top of that like everything that her crew has to bring with them. I'm just thinking about like how much stuff they bring with them on their stuff on top of all the people being on there.
And then, and then I think a more sinister route, right? A smaller plane, smaller private plane. You can put stuff on that plane. So you have a manifest. Everybody know what a manifest is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The stuff that's gonna go on the plane. So you have your manifest, and it could have been the things that were on the plane. If you feel like it was a weight issue, it could have been things on that plane that was not on the manifest.
Mm-hmm. You're
You get
right.
what I'm saying? And maybe that's why the reports are coming out that she needed to be medicated because she was nervous about what else was going to be on that plane.
That is true. And it was a report where, so like, if you notice some of that video for Rock the Boat, it was totally done in front of a green screen. It was all CGI. And um I believe it was Damon Dash or somebody else, they had told Hype Williams like there's no need to go to the Bahamas to film these scenes where we could do all this, in front of a green screen CGI, it'll be fine. And they kept on saying that Hype Williams kept insisting on going down to the Bahamas and to film these scenes.
Whatever happened to Hype Williams? He
He
used to
just
direct all of the cold
he
videos back in the day. He was
disappeared.
cold.
Yeah, he was called. He just disappeared.
See that makes me wonder again, right?
Yeah, he
Like,
really. I feel like somebody was setting her up to be killed. Is what I feel like, and I feel like he assisted with the process. He used that video. That they used that music video as a way to for him to be able to assist in her being killed.
because I'm pretty sure she's got on a lot of flights. So how come that one she had to be drugged?
Right. Cause like so for somebody, cause somebody said one, I believe it was like a taxi cab driver or somebody was saying that she complained that she had a headache. They gave her some pills for this headache, and then next thing you know, they were saying that she was out of it, basically sleep, and she was carried onto the plane.
So I mean that's unfortunate, you know. Then I mean I've heard Jay Z has had his hand in certain things also, you know. I know him and Aaliyah were kind of cozied up in a few pictures that I saw.
Hmm.
I don't know if they ever had dinner. I feel like I seen her with Jay Z before she was with R. Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
She was with R.
but
Kelly before Jay Z. Like it was once the
and
public
then
came
Dame
came around
Dash and
about
all
her and
that.
R. Kelly, it was like, oh, Jay Z was like, let me go ahead and slide in.
Or maybe because Dame Dash, like she hooked up with Timberland Magoo, Missy. Dame Dash was around them,
Hmm.
and Dame Dash and Jay Z. You know what I'm saying? They were like
Hmm.
brothers at one point. But as far as Diddy, I'm so glad. Like, okay, so let me say this. Let me not be a mean person. Like, I don't want him. So wait, if he did the crime and they can prove it, he got to do the time, right? Like, I don't
Wait, who you
have
talking
pictures
about,
of
Jay
him
Z
personally.
or Hype?
Diddy.
Oh, okay, Diddy.
I want because that's who we was talking about originally.
Yeah.
So if he did the crime, he got to do the time, right? Like I
Hmm.
know Howard just recently revoked his honorary doctorate, and they shut down his scholarship he had at Howard University, right?
Hmm.
So they cut all financial ties with him. Like so, it's like a slow domino effect. I know he had already done away with Ciroc. He got paid out of that deal, I think.
Hmm.
Um, I know that Macy's and all of them when the whole scandal went down when Cassie had um, came out with the lawsuit, they stopped selling his clothes, took it off the shelf or whatever. And I'm like, who the fuck still wears Sean John? But I guess like
Old
he
people.
has
There was
more
this
like
old guy at work. He said, I gotta go throw my Sean John shirt in the garbage because all this stuff started coming out about him.
I,
50 and 60-year-olds
so
still buy Sean John.
so the urban wear, but he also had like ties and stuff like that, right? So he had business attire too. So that's the only thing I can think of that was actually still selling, like button ups and stuff like that. things to wear with a suit, right? Um, and now Revolt. I feel like I had heard allegedly that because I feel like he owned Revolt. That was his
Mm-hmm.
thing. And I'm not so sure if it's his anymore. He got rid of it or he sold it because of the settlement with Cassie. I feel like I kind of heard that around that same time, and that's probably because he had to pay her out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know we talked about it probably about a couple of months ago. You didn't know he had released the album,
I did not know that.
so he released the album. Um, but I feel like everything he just gonna basically be snuffed out, right? And fine. So I'm happy with that. Like, stop his money from coming in. If this is, if he is truly the monster that everybody say he
So,
is,
so Diddy stepped down as CEO. As he
of
stepped
Bad
down as
Boy.
chairman as of Revolt TV, from a
Okay.
report that I see here from November 28, 2023. Um,
Okay.
somebody named Devato Samuel is now the CEO of Revolt TV.
Oh, okay. So somebody he know that he can still tell what to do, probably.
Probably.
Um,
And then
but
there's another
I
report here saying Sean Diddy Combs sells Revo TV shares company. This is, I don't know if this is a
yeah,
real source or not, but it says wishtv.com. And this said this article is published March 26, 2024, that he sold his shares in Revo.
yes. So I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking that's around the time when he had to pay her out all the millions of dollars, right?
Hmm.
Because you got to think about it. When somebody say they're a billionaire, close to being a billionaire, it doesn't mean like cash money on
No, it's
hand.
all,
It
they just
includes
assets.
assets.
They have about
Yes.
$1 billion in assets.
So, for a lawsuit, most lawsuits will force you, if you have those type of assets, to sell, so you can
Hmm.
pay out your lawsuit. If anybody didn't know, um, but I hope that the truth does come out. Um, I feel like NDAs are a good thing to protect the privacy of somebody that's famous, like Beyonce, right?
Hmm.
But when people use NDAs to cover up um, crimes, I'm not with
Hmm.
it. Not
Right.
at all. Not at all. Because then I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's just creepy old man.
Yeah. Um. So, let's see. We got about 30 minutes left. So it's a few videos that I want to play and discuss.
Wait, well, I want to talk about Sade Robinson real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so and I'm a little rusty on the dates and the details. So Sade Robinson was a young lady that was found to be dismembered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I feel like at the beginning of April,
I believe so.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
No, I think it was the beginning of.
she,
Was it the beginning of April or May?
I think it was the
I think
beginning.
it's
I think it was
April.
the beginning of April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so it was discovered that she was assumed dead because they started finding body parts that belonged to her around the city of Milwaukee. Deep dive went into it. She had the day she went missing, she went out on a date with a guy named Maxwell Anderson. Um, they were tracked to a couple of different places, ended up back at his home. He was then tracked, well, her car was then tracked back to the lakefront here. And you got to think about it, it's Milwaukee. Like, all of Wisconsin on the eastern side is covered by lakefront, right? So, um, he went back to the lakefront. Supposedly, somebody was seen on camera. I'm gonna say allegedly because they haven't said if it was him or not. Somebody was seen trying to throw something into the lake multiple times. Um, and these body parts that have been found that authorities are saying that belong to Sade Robinson have been on beaches. They did first recover a leg. from the hip to the foot. That was the first thing they found in the area where the video showed a person trying to toss it into the water. Then they found a foot by a railroad, I believe. Then they found an arm and a torso, right?
Mhm.
And then I think they found the other arm, or they found an arm in Waukegan, I believe, or something like that.
Yep, it's an arm at
I don't know.
Washington Shore in Waukegan, and then they're
Okay,
still
so
trying
what?
to get that identified.
See if it was hers. Yeah, and I mean they should have been able to identify it by now. They haven't released anything. Um, that was probably about 3 weeks ago. I think
Yeah, about
it
two,
don't
three
take
weeks
that
ago.
long to do it don't take that long to do a DNA test. Um, and so the all if that turns out to be her arm, the only thing that is missing is her head.
Hmm.
And of course, they're doing all this DNA testing through her parents, right? So, um,
What if her head is buried on the property where he killed her?
man, listen, okay, so I'm gonna go into that, right? So he was arrested, he was charged, um, he pled not guilty. He retained one of the best lawyers in the Milwaukee metro area, I believe, as far as a criminal attorney. Um, he waived his right to a preliminary hearing, and I believe his bail is $5 million or something along those lines. Um, Martell and I did read through the police report of the hour by hour account as to where her phone was tracked and traced. Um, and there was like ring doorbell camera showing two people going out, one person coming in. It was eyewitness accounts of him torching her car, and then he was on the bus right after the car was torched in the area where it was torched, with a book bag on. Um, her clothes were found in the trunk that she was seen wearing during their date. Cameras caught her with the clothing on, so they found that in the trunk of the car. Her car was the one that was driven down to the lakefront, to and where the person was going by the person to the river. Okay, so they went into the house. They said they found some blood on the wall. They said they found some questionable things in the basement. Um, turns out the blood on the wall is animal blood. They didn't say what kind of animal. Okay, which is weird to me because why is it blood of an animal on a wall? Um, and I'm gonna share my thoughts about that later. Um, but the property where he was living at was sold about 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
So his father actually owned the property, right? So it had been in the news that his parents had money, right? So his father sold the property. It was sold at 77,000 under the assessment of the property. It is a duplex. It's a nice looking duplex in a nice neighborhood. Okay. Um, so it was sold, which there was video of the father cleaning out the house. So that probably was why he was cleaning out the house because it was getting sold. Okay. So the new owners, it was sold to an LLC. Okay.
Hmm.
Apparently, the news report said this LLC has no personal connection to any of the family members. And then it was stated that the LLC owners had no idea what went down in that house, which is kind of hard for me to believe unless they're not from Milwaukee, right?
Hmm.
Really hard for me to believe because I feel like this is kind of national news too. But so, with that being said, we're still awaiting to see how if there's going to be a trial, if it's not, how that's going to go, like all of that stuff. I do hope that this is something that's going to be televised I feel like it will be televised because this is a very gruesome murder, regardless of who did it, right?
Hmm.
Um, I hope so. So she has not been buried yet because the parents refuse to bury her until they have all missing parts, which is really heartbreaking because they haven't found her head yet, right? Um, so now my question is, why would the father be able to sell that home in the midst of an investigation, especially when they had not determined, especially when they had not determined where she had been murdered at.
So
So
only way I can see like the purchase of the home going forward is without like how you saying without the know where technically she was actually killed at. It's the I think the judge actually has to say like the house needs to be untouched, da da da, da whatever for if in case the
I
jurors
know
want to do a walkthrough and all those kind of things. So
exactly.
the judge has to make the order. So if the judge never made that order for that to happen, then the owner of the house is free to do whatever they want to do with the property.
And that's crazy to me. So they claim they combed it from top to bottom. I don't know. I feel like so I feel like with the amount of murders and deaths that we have been having in Milwaukee, the coroner's office is probably backed up. The police department is probably backed up. They're probably, short on staff. Me, where I work at, I get calls about dead patients being found in their homes all the time. Okay. So I know the amount of deaths that are going on. Um, and this for this to be such a gruesome and highly televised issue, I would have thought that the judge would have stayed stopped the sale of the property until after the trial. And the fact
You
that
would think, but
and the fact that it was so
the judge did.
77,000 under the assessment of the property,
I mean,
that's crazy. That's
just
crazy
like
to
with the
me in today's market.
whole with the whole Aaron Hernandez case. So nobody was able to really do too much with that property because I believe the house that he supposedly had killed the woman in, the jurors had did like a walk through the house. They could like go back and like do
We
like
haven't even
like
got
a
to that point though.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. And then I said, but that was something that that judge made a decision to do. But for some reason, this judge decided not to. So, like any evidence that was possibly could have been in that house is no longer going to be there. And if they say they clone the house from top to bottom, I feel like the only thing they pretty much haven't done, if they say they clone the house from top to bottom, was basically dig up the yard to see what was it, what
So
if anything was buried.
so my question is, can they go back to their property because now they got new owners?
I feel like if there's a court order, yes.
That's crazy. So in my mind, if the LLC purchases a property, that means there's going to be a business there, right?
Right, and then
So
because maybe they will like so maybe with the purchase of that property, the judge probably knew about the purchase of the property. Said, but hey, we can you can purchase the property, but far as people living in there or
but you
being
can't start your business.
right, that type of situation until after the trial.
So, okay, so in my head, like now I want to know stipulations because usually when you're buying a property, the owner of the property is going to fix up, update,
Mhm.
etc., do things to the property that wants it so you can sell it, right?
Mhm.
Um, paint job, etc., right? Um, I don't know if that was done. I don't know if it's a court order that says you cannot do that. I don't know any of those things. I don't know if the judge
Right, we don't know
said
that.
to
Right.
the new owners, you cannot, start renovations on this home until after, we deem that it's no longer um a place of interest in the trial. But I
Mhm.
do. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know if the judge made that decision because the blood came back animal blood. But the fact that her phone pinged at that location, and then she so her phone was there from like 9 to 12, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that she died somewhere within that time. You get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. So that's what the coroner's office says. She died somewhere between 9 and 12 a.m. 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Her phone, because it was tracked via an app, said she was there at that house during that time. She was a beautiful young lady. Young. That's terrible, man. I just I can't imagine what the parents are feeling. I can't imagine what she felt, what she went through. Like, I don't
I
know if she was
I
murdered
just hope
ahead
that
of
she
time before
wasn't.
being
I
dismembered.
was just ready to say. I just hope that she wasn't alive when the dismemberment started to happen.
So, medically speaking, and that's what I'm saying. Okay, if she wasn't dismembered at that house, she had to be dismembered somewhere. But where? Because her phone showed everywhere she went. They were literally there for 3 hours. You get what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know. And that's why I'm like, I'm really confused as to why they were allowed to sell her that house. I don't understand. He shouldn't have been able to move anything outside of that house. No, nothing. He shouldn't have been, the father should not have been able to gain entry into that home because it might be potentially a crime scene, even though the body wasn't found there. But you have evidence to say that she was there for 3 hours. I don't care if you combed it from top to bottom, you still don't have any definitive answers, and that should be enough to say, well, maybe we missed something. Maybe we need to bring somebody else in on this. Maybe because that's a tragedy. Like for like if she wasn't shot and killed, she was cut up. We don't even know what the cause of death was. All we know is that she was dismembered, but she was butchered. I'm gonna say from the way that I was reading all of the notes and stuff like that, it wasn't any surgical removal of limbs. She was butchered because he tried to, or whoever the perpetrator was. I can't say it was him, right? Because I don't know, but whoever the perpetrator was, when the first leg they found, they tried to hack through her leg, so it sounded like it was maybe an axe because they didn't say saw, it said hack. And then they didn't hack all the way through the bone, they just broke the rest of it off. So the rest of her femur is actually attached to her torso. And I'm sorry if this is really graphic, but this is what I think about, right? And I don't want anybody to have to go through that. That's just sad. And then what is the motive, right? Why would somebody do something to a young lady like that? She looks sweet. From what I understand, everything I was reading, everybody loved her. She was well loved. She was a really sweet, really personable young lady. I don't know why she went on this date. No, nothing. But I hope that somebody somewhere in the DA's office, in the police department, they say this don't sit right with them, and they continue to push and push and push. And I know it's tiresome, and I know it can be a lot of evidence, and I know it can be a lot of dead ends, but I hope they continue to push and push and push for the truth because that's scary. To me, that's scary. I'm sorry. But I did read that his lawyer asked after he waived his right to a preliminary hearing, that he went back and said that he's requesting for the next hearing to be in July because it's so much evidence that he has to go through in order to prepare his case. And then he also asked for Maxwell Anderson to have a laptop to be able to look at all of the evidence that's piling up against him while he's in jail. And the judge said he was okay with that. But apparently it's supposed to be monitored by um, jail staff. So they say when he can get on the computer, he's supposed to be supervised while he's on the computer, so on and so forth. I don't know. I don't like the sound of any of this. I don't. And I feel like, I haven't seen any GoFundMe's or anything for her family. Have you?
I'm not.
I haven't seen any fundraisers or anything for her family. And if people can raise money for Trump, I feel like people can raise money for her family and her parents, at least to get, you know what I'm saying, a good lawyer on their side. Like, I understand the DA is the one that's supposed to be handling this, but at least money for the cost of her funeral. I don't know what the cost is to like store her body parts, you know what I'm saying, until they do find everything so they can bury her. Like, I'm sorry, it's really heartbreaking to me. I'm done. Rant over.
Well,
I'm sorry, y'all.
so to go from a sad story to something that just don't make completely sense, I'm just gonna play the clip for y'all. They headed to these TikTok videos of the week. So here we go.
New tonight, a shocking twist for the man who went viral for driving during a virtual court hearing for a suspended license.
Corey Harris showed up in person at a Washtenaw County courthouse today, hoping to set the record straight and put this entire saga behind him. Instead, we're reporting on a brand new chapter.
7 News Detroit reporter Kimberly Craig has been keeping up with the twists and turns of this one. She was in court today as it all unfolded.
Well, nothing went the way Corey Harris thought it was going to go in court today. The judge started off by slamming Corey Harris, saying he's never even had a valid driver's license. And the afternoon ended with Harris going to jail.
The person that needed to be blamed is the person that he was staring at in the mirror. He didn't do what he should have done.
The judge came ready to set the record straight with Corey Harris, who has claimed that he thought the suspension on his driver's license was removed 2 years ago.
That court and its friend of the court did nothing wrong. His driving privileges were unsuspended in 2022. That required Mr. Harris to do something. He didn't do it.
The judge said Harris never paid his clearance fees with the court or the Secretary of State to lift the suspension. But that's not all.
He has never had a Michigan license. Ever.
We asked Harris yesterday if he ever had a valid driver's license. He claimed he didn't remember. Do you ever recall having one? Having a driver's license?
I knew I had a permit. I knew that.
A driver's permit or?
I believe. I don't know. I can't say yes and I can't say no.
And that's odd because the Pittsfield Township police officer and prosecutor said during that October traffic stop, Corey Harris knew what was up.
At least twice during this traffic stop, he acknowledged to the officer that he did not have a valid license. Quote unquote, quote, actually, I don't have a valid license, close quote. The question was, are you a valid driver? Quote, I am not.
There was no error by anybody. It was a failure on the part of Mr. Harris to do certain things. Now, I grant you that sometimes that can be a complicated process, but it was certainly not anybody's fault that that didn't happen other than that wasn't paid.
Then came the unexpected.
He has a warrant for his arrest.
Corey Harris was taken into custody for what appears to be a 9-year-old bench warrant out of Allen Park.
So was I shocked? Absolutely. Did I want my client to walk in and then get escorted to the back? Absolutely not. That was not the plan.
The shocking thing about it, for a driving while license suspended, that he didn't take care of.
It should be something that a lesson for all of us. Handle your business. At the end of the day, handle your business.
In Ann Arbor, Kimberly Craig, 7 News, Detroit.
Thank you, Kim.
First of all, I knew he was lying from the beginning when he was all over the blog. Second of all, as an attorney, why would you not dig deep into your client's business and say, sir, you've never had a valid driver's license before we even do this.
The whole thing, how this all got, you were in court, in virtual court,
on the phone, driving.
On the phone, driving. And the court case was driving on a suspended license, and you were in the car driving. Come on, hold on, I'm driving. I was on my way to a doctor appointment. I'm leaving a doctor's appointment.
So I just learned recently, because you know I had to retain a lawyer for educational purposes, y'all. You cannot do anything legal with an attorney or a lawyer in our state while you're driving. You can't. Nope. No, you can't. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot be driving while you're having, because they do a lot of like Zoom calls now, as far as like attorneys, and like court dates and stuff like that. They do the Zoom calls, and you cannot be driving. You can't.
All I know,
and this is before I heard about
this man is an idiot.
He and then you on record, like you on video saying you can't even remember if you have a valid you know if your driver's license is valid, or if you ever had one, or if you ever had a learner's permit. Sir, did you take the driving test? That's what we asking you. Right. Did you take the driver's test to get a valid driver's license, and did you pass? Yeah.
But she never. Where there's no record of ever having a driver's license in the first place.
He's talking about something he don't know.
This is the definition of dumb criminal. Dumb criminal.
And then you have a 9-year-old bench warrant, sir. What? A 9-year-old bench warrant?
I can't believe it. I gotta get into this next clip because it's about MTV creating a fake award and giving it to Michael Jackson. So I'm just gonna play the clip.
Oh my God.
Who remembers when MTV gave Michael Jackson a fake award? In the late 80s, as Jackson noticed that award shows like the Grammys were using him for TV ratings while simultaneously robbing him of well-deserved awards, he vowed not to attend any more award ceremonies unless he was honored or celebrated in some fashion. The following years, he began collecting honorary awards like Infinity Stones. They even began creating awards for him. Fast forward to 2002, the MTV Awards were being broadcasted on Michael's 44th birthday, and they wanted him in attendance for a birthday celebration. But Michael was like, y'all already know the procedure. Give me an award or send the birthday card to my PO. So MTV, knowing Jackson on his birthday would equal crazy ratings, promised to present him with the first ever Artist of the Millennium Award, to which he replied, I'll be there.
It just so happens to be someone special's birthday. This is someone who has inspired me and just about everybody in this room and the world. I consider him the artist of the millennium. So happy birthday, my friend, the King of Pop.
When I was a little boy in Indiana, if someone had told me that one day I would be getting, as a musician, the Artist of the Millennium Award, I wouldn't have believed it. This is really amazing. I can't believe it.
Now, there's two things I want to make sure you picked up on. First is Britney considering Michael as the Artist of the Millennium. Second is the statuette that was rolled out with the birthday cake. This Artist of the Millennium Award wasn't real. MTV found a way to get Michael to their ceremony, earned them their most watched telecast up until that point, at the expense of Michael being the butt of the joke. For weeks, the media clowned him for accepting a non-existent award. Now, MTV stated that he misunderstood why he was there, despite their website, the night of the show, publishing that he was in fact there to receive an award. Then let's just rewind back to Britney considering him the exact name of the award he thought he was there to receive. He even had a speech planned out with the award name in it. MTV, y'all played in this man's face and embarrassed him, and I'm gonna need a real explanation as to why.
I'd like to accept the Artist of the Millennium Award myself. I guess they're giving them backstage. Everyone's getting them.
Not only is it VMA night, but it also happens to be the birthday of someone that I consider to be very, very, very funny. I'd like to bring him out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Jack Black.
Seriously, people, if someone had told me when I was a little kid that I was going to win the Super Genius of the Universe award, I'd have said, "You no way, you're crazy," and I've won it.
So I feel so many different ways about that. First of all, why would you allow white people to play in Michael Jackson's face like that?
Because
Even
they
if it
used to
was
let it
satire,
all night.
right? But they used white people.
I mean,
And then number two, he was the artist of the millennium.
okay, and then on top of that, I feel like this is the reason why Beyonce got so many Grammy awards. 'Cause that's the only way they can get her to show up to the award show to get people to watch.
I mean,
My personal
possibly. But I mean, so she. I mean, Beyonce is cold. I'm sorry, Beyonce is cold in a lot of different aspects. Um, Keeping her life pretty private, releasing new content, just how she has such a strong fan base, right? So that's what really
All
matters, right?
these award shows is
It,
playing in her face like they was playing in Michael Jackson's face.
so yes, and maybe she learned from that, but I hate
That's
that they
why
did that
that's
because
why she
Michael
don't show
Jackson
up unless she
was,
get an award.
but Michael Jackson truly was an artist of the millennium. Like, why would you play in his face like that? You know what I'm saying? At first, when he came out, I was like, is that an impersonator? You know what I'm saying? Because so many good Michael Jackson impersonators.
Her though. So MTV called it the artist of the millennium, but two was it? Well, they said that was 2001 that happened. So 2 years before that, Billboard Music Awards, which every 10 years they give out the Artist of the Millennium Award, in which
Makes sense.
which is 2 years prior to that, they gave that same award to Mariah. And then 2 years later, MTV creates this award on their show, which never was an award on their show. They never did anything like this before. And then MTV decided we're gonna name this award the same exact award as the Billboard Awards, and then just give it to Michael Jackson for the show up on his birthday.
So I understand where you're coming from, and that's why I say I hate that they did that to him. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not gonna dumb down what Michael Jackson did in his whole musical career. Like,
Right.
we're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? He did deserve an award like that, and honestly, he deserved that award before Mariah Carey got it. I'm be honest.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
Michael got it. I think Michael Jackson won that award before her at the beginning of the 90s, and at the end of the 90s, they gave it to her because at the end of that
Billboard.
decade, she had 14 number one hits, which nobody else had done
Billboard.
in a period of 10 years. Yeah, in a period of 10 years.
Okay. So I understand that for Billboard, but like MTV, I stopped watching MTV a long time ago just because they are all about ratings, and I just feel like
Which
so
is why they
I
keep coming up with all these love and hip hop shows to get people to watch.
and I haven't watched Love and Hip Hop since probably almost I don't know, since they first came out.
Like I said, the last time I watched it, Rashida and Kirk was on there with his mama, and I think Rashida mama ran over Kirk's motorcycle, and that's the last time I watched it. That was like season.
I don't know nothing about
And that
somebody
was like
running over a
season two
motorcycle.
that was like season 2 or 3 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Was the
Yeah.
last time I watched any of that.
Yeah, the last time I watched it, Jocelyn was on there. That's the last time I watched it, and I remember um, if it was something about Kurt and Rashida, other than him cheating on her and having a baby, I don't remember none of that. But y'all stop playing with Mike Jack. Stop playing with Mike
Put
Jack.
some respect on his name.
That's what I'm saying, man. I got albums. Okay, I have actual records purchased when they was first put out. Don't play with Mike Jack.
Right.
He was phenomenal.
I got one, two. So I got 4 more clips to show. These are short clips, but I'm gonna show this one first because this is why these bot people, hopefully they learned a lesson after what this man did. These people who when shoes come out and they have like the computer all the shoes and they try to resell the shoes at a higher price. So Hopefully, this was a lesson learned for people who does this. So here we go.
So J Balvin scammed his customers out of $25,000, but it was for good though. Let me explain. So it was announced that there was going to be early access for J Balvin's new shoes, the Jordan 3 Rios, and you could get early access one of two ways. And that was signing up for his Familia portal, or if you had spent over $100 on his merchandise before. And he did this to make sure that his actual fans got the sneakers and not resellers and bots. But he had one more trick up his sleeve for resellers and sneaker botting. So normally when it comes to hype sneakers, there's a big problem with resellers and botting, and I'll give you a short rundown. So the sneakers originally dropped for $180 to $200, and they sell out very quickly, and then the resale value is anywhere from $400 to $1,000 or whatever, right? So if you're lucky enough to hit for retail, you can resell them and make money on them. But J Balvin wanted his actual fan base to get a hold of these sneakers and wear them and not sell them. And people that use sneaker botting, they have a software that auto checkouts a whole bunch of pairs for them, and they get tens, sometimes hundreds of pairs, and then they resell them and make the money. And that makes his actual fans have to pay high prices for his sneakers. So what J Balvin did to counteract this is he sold his sneakers on his website for $25,000. But if you were a true fan and you kept up with Twitter and his personal website, he gave a discount code for $24,750 off. And some of these sneaker bots actually went through with the checkout and paid $25,000 per pair, while his true fans got the discount code and only paid $250 retail. It's crazy to see that Jordan Brand has been working on some sort of anti-bot protection for years now, but J Balvin outsmarted this sneaker botting software and pulled the ultimate troll on sneaker resellers.
I don't know who he is, but that's smart. That's smart.
I
That's
saw
smart.
that clip. I said I had to get this in the podcast. I had to.
Mm-hmm.
That was so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got another clip for y'all. I got another clip.
What's one thing you can say to a white Christian conservative that will immediately make them upset?
Since Jesus is the son of the Virgin Mary and God, that means he has no way of inheriting the Y chromosome since that's given to us by our biological fathers, which means that Jesus is trans. Pass it on.
So, I'm not in the church like I should be, but the Holy Trinity, if anybody is actually Christian, mind, body, and soul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three things, the Trinity, right? So Jesus was the body to add up to the Trinity. So he was the spirit so he was a gift given to Mary and Joseph, and Mary and Joseph never had any other kids, and he was an anomaly, right? So now I will say, as far as virgins are concerned, you don't actually have to have sex to get pregnant, right?
I mean, back in them
So
times.
you can be. I mean, no. Even back in them times, you don't actually have to have sex. You just have to have semen in your vagina.
Right.
You don't have to have penetration, right? So, I mean, ain't nobody ever said that, but I've always said that, and I mean, I don't know, but I mean, whoever Jesus was, it sounds like he was a really nice, miraculous man, according to the Bible.
Right.
So, not Jesus, this is French. Oh my God. Happy Pride Month.
Oh, right. Oh God. Okay, I got another clip for y'all. Here we go.
I don't care what anyone tells me in this world. Every kid now looks like an alpaca. Looks like this. Yeah.
Brian. Yep, it checks.
Wait, you missed it because he had proof. Wait, I gotta replay it. I gotta replay it.
I don't care what anyone tells me in this world. Every kid now looks like an alpaca. Looks like this. Yeah.
Brian. Yep, it checks.
Guy. I like that guy. That's the guy that be having the dead body wrapped up in with the duct tape.
So people who be new to like his TikTok page, and I go look at the comments, and people be like, "So nobody's gonna talk about the body he has."
So the dead body behind him. He just walked past it. Yeah.
And the fact,
and I think he in the army or he a Marine or something like that.
And the fact that he used his son as evidence on top of that. Like,
I can definitely use my sons as evidence because they look like alpacas. Like 100%. Like that's funny as hell. Yep, it checks out.
Oh,
I love
okay,
it.
I got one more clip for y'all, then we're gonna head out for the day. Here we go. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Hello.
I don't know if you know, but TJ got locked up.
Why? What happened?
He robbed the store and hit the clerk over the head with a bottle. But I was calling to see if you wanted a free junior shirt. We was gonna use the money for the shirt.
Okay, so why would I want to wear a free junior shirt? And then you say he hit somebody over the head. Why? And he robbed the store. Why would I want to wear that shirt?
Well, that's your cousin, your family, your staying family.
That don't really matter if my cousin or not. I just think they're just dumb. You go rob a store, hit somebody over the head, and I'm supposed to say free you until it's backward. I don't want you to be. Matter of fact, Junior still owe me $20. Why would I want him to be free? You do know if you do wrong, like if you rob somebody, you know, you do something like that, you know you're supposed to go to jail, or you know, you don't care about that good. Ain't no way you sitting here trying to organize some free Junior t-shirt and he robbed the store. That make no, hello? I don't give a damn. Why would I want a free Junior? That's just dumb. I wear a free Junior t-shirt. If I wear one of them t-shirts, y'all might well take me with Junior. That's just stupid. Free Junior till it's backwards. Huh? Okay.
That pisses me off when I see stuff like that. They be like, free Tone. Like, Tone committed murder. Like,
it was the voice for me on the other end of the phone. That's how they be sounding, though. What? No, I don't care. He need to go to jail.
I be hating. When I see that on social media, I'm like, free so-and-so. I'm like, well, so-and-so committed a heinous crime. Like,
not heinous.
Like, why are we wanting to be free? Like, I hate Torian. Oh, anyway, we went over by 7 minutes, y'all. So I'm sorry about that. Don't forget to head over to restsports.com. Use code Anthony for receipt. Don't forget to head over to Habits 360. Oh wait, Restsports is 10%. And then don't forget to head over to habits360.com. Use code Anthony for receipt. 20% off your purchase. And then Rep Sports, use code Martil13C, 10% off your purchase. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Same Cast Different Day Podcast, TikTok. Oh fuck, I don't even know the TikTok. Now. Same Cast DFNT Day, some podcast on TikTok. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Same Cast Different Day Podcast or SCDD Podcast for the at thing. So don't forget to check us out. Don't forget to head over to our merch. This holding this Same Cast Different Day official shot glass. So make sure y'all head over there and get y'all official Same Cast Different Day merch. Like she's wearing the shirt right there. So make sure y'all get y'all merch. And we're gonna see y'all on the next episode of Same Cast Different Day Podcast.